Well, George, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well, Ibarionex. How are you?
Good, good. I'm really excited about the chance to have a chance to talk with you and share with listeners and viewers about this event we're trying to do in December in Japan. I'm really excited about the process, and I'm really am flattered that you would consider including me along with the roster of other great photographers like, Sam and you know, uh, Greg
Greg and Arthur.
and
Yeah.
Arthur, and I just thought that this would be a good way of getting people to get more of a feel in terms of what this is all about. Because I think a lot of people kind of hear that a teaching event like this is just a workshop, but what you have been designing and creating for photographers is something that's much different. So I thought it would be a good opportunity for you to share with everyone what it is so they can get a sense of whether or not they'd like to join us in December.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, first of all, Ibarionex, I would say that you absolutely belong in that roster of all-star photographers. Been an admirer of your work, as I'm sure all the listeners and viewers here have been for a while. And your photographs just keep every time I look and I open Instagram and I see another Ibarionex post, I'm excited about what you've done,
Oh,
what
thanks.
you talk about. And you're always a teacher. Your explanations of how you saw scenes developing, how you waited for sort of life to happen in them, and the things you were looking at, as well as the little challenges you leave for people. That's always exciting to see, and I think that you're going to do great. You'll be a great fit for Tokyo and all the things that happen in this wonderful city. Um, to touch on what you discussed about the special experience. Tokyo's my hometown. At the same time, it's like saying, like an entire country is your hometown. 38 million people live here. It is just there's 23 wards and hundreds of different neighborhoods centered around different train stations. Even for someone who lives here, and has spent most of his life here, it can be a place that's hard to navigate through everywhere. You end up usually in the same major hubs and things like that because that's where your life flows through, but less so in terms of like sort of suburban exploration, urban exploration, and all that sort of thing. I think especially for people who visited only casually or on business trips or prior trips, they will have probably covered some of those hubs, but they won't have gone in to find the sort of heart of Tokyo where people live and breathe and work and and that sort of thing. And so I've always wanted to make a workshop that was centered around uh, the heart of Tokyo. In my prior workshops, we've always included Tokyo as one part of a larger set of destinations that we travel to in Japan, but it always only scratches the surface. And I wanted to do something deeper with the right photographer who has that mindset of exploring one area, one subject deeply before moving on to others. And so I think you're a great fit for that. Um, the neat thing about Tokyo and all of this is that we'll get access to little neighborhoods that'll feel like you're in the countryside. It's sleepier, it's slower. There aren't 10 million people rushing by you at every instance. There are still artisans and craftsmen sitting around working on traditional fare, and that's always exciting to explore. In addition, you have a quick train ride away. You can get to these mega cities built around stations with these incredible architectural backdrops with bouncing light, reflected light everywhere through the glass and steel. We're also, while we're on the subject of light, December is a great time for light in Japan. It's one of the best. I think December and January in Tokyo, the light is killer all day. So we don't necessarily have to wait for golden hour to have magical light everywhere during that time of year. So that's very exciting. But to introduce Tokyo as something beyond the sort of intimidating giant megacity or known as like a culinary capital, that's fine. But let's go deeper and explore it it from the perspective of someone who's, an insider, a local visitor who can really dig into some of the interesting and quirky neighborhoods. So there's a great variety of locations that we've lined up in that regard.
And that's what is really exciting about this, this opportunity, at least for me, is like I love traveling somewhere and going off the main artery, and having someone who knows it makes it a much more intimate experience because they know the people, they know the places, they know those little secret corners, not just in terms of photography, but just in terms of food or drinking or hanging out. And it's just, I like the idea of having a full experience, and then at the same time learning how to really document and capture that experience as a photographer. So, because sometimes I feel like there's a disconnect. You go out and you experience it, and then you just make a couple of snapshots. Or if you are passionate about your photography, you're so fixated on the camera that you miss out on the moments. And I think this is a perfect marriage between the two.
Right, and very good points. And some of the things that we do to make this an all-inclusive experience. Is that we will go into, for example, a working man's, sort of after work unwinding neighborhood, right? We'll go together. We'll first capture some of the workers leaving the buildings. You see the pictures of the salary man in his immaculate dark suit, charcoal gray or black, coming out of these buildings with crazy light and just wonderful setups. And then we'll follow them over into the areas where they unwind, and we'll sit down ourselves and at these pubs and have drinks and mingle with them, talk to them, ask about their lives, their experiences, make some portraits, also capture the scenes of these areas with these lanterns at blue hour. It's just kind of a magical thing to do. So we'll be including ourselves right into diving into that experience. Is a little bit different from another workshop where you'll be just standing in one spot and shooting the same thing. No, we're going in, giving you ample opportunity if you have the courage, and we'll help you walk you through that. If you're a little bit more intimidated about going up to strangers to make their portraits, we'll make that happen for you and help as much as you need. But really making that part of the experience. The other kind of thing that's really interesting is, as you say, going into a little neighborhood and finding a little local temple or a local shrine and just seeing the magic that happens. Just around the corner from my house, for example, seems like there's not a whole lot going on, but there's a little shrine. Going there sometimes, and then you'll see a mother and daughter coming to offer a prayer in the mornings or something like that. And it's pretty easy to talk to them and say, hey, I was wondering if we could make your portrait, and they happily oblige. And you can capture a very, very sweet moment that's authentic about Tokyo and about this place without it necessarily being at the Meiji Shrine or Asakusa Temple with 5,000 tourists in the backdrop of your photos. I mean, there's so many hidden gems in Tokyo that we can explore together. So that's another exciting aspect about what we have planned.
When you've gotten feedback from the other workshops that you've conducted, what kind of response do you typically get from people?
I think that the biggest endorsement or support that I've received is that fully half of the people who come on our workshops are repeaters. So, there's a lot of choices, of course, for travel photography experiences all over the world out there. I'm deeply touched and honored that people come back year after year to come to Japan again. And I think what they always harp on and mention is that they get the unique cultural experience. They haven't felt like they've just gone through, whisked away on a tour, dropped off at a location, then taken to another. Everything is highly curated and planned in terms of where we go, and the uniqueness of the experiences when we interact with the local people, the way we use local businesses, and when it comes to inns or restaurants, things like that, and creating unique sort of journeys and workshops where it's pretty hard to kind of replicate that elsewhere. Just being, for me, being bicultural, I I understand the needs of the visitor from the West and the creature comforts that we'd like to have, like little things like coffee in the morning, which might not be part of the traditional Japanese breakfast. But making sure those little things happen so people are comfortable, yet still living the real Japanese experience. So that's what keeps people coming back. There's a section with testimonials on the workshops page where people can click if they like to read some of those reports. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that people keep coming back. I think we're very fortunate that people feel that way about what we do.
One of the things that I'm really excited about, because most of my classes are 2.5 days.
Mhm.
And every time I teach those courses, I feel like we're just getting started at 2 days.
Right.
And knowing that we're going to have so much more time is going to give each photographer an opportunity to keep building on what they've done the previous day. Because I think it's going to be really exciting to see and help someone develop their way of seeing, but
Mhm.
at the same time, helping them in terms of telling a story, the story
Right.
of their unique experience. Because I think that what I fully expect is that even though all of us are going to be going to similar locations, maybe photographing similar scenes and subjects, that by the end of it, when we have a selection of each respective photographer's images, that we're going to see the unique way they captured and told a complete story of that experience in Tokyo. Because I know when I see other people's pictures when they travel, a lot of
Hmm.
the times it's just pictures of places they've been. Yeah,
Right.
iconic locations, and they may do sort of selfie there. But in terms of what it felt like to be there, that's always sort of missing. And I really think that this, I use the word workshop for lack of a better
Mhm.
word, but cultural experience, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. Is that after that, I think people are going to be really able to see and feel their experience in the photographs, and they'll be excited to share that with, the people that they've left back at home, which is something that really excites me about this opportunity. So, where can people go to find out more, to register, and send you any
Yeah,
questions if they have them?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to nobechicreative.com /workshops, or just go to nobechicreative.com and it's pretty easily labeled where the workshops are. That's NOBECHI creative. As far as questions go, I'm George at nobechicreative.com, so you can drop me questions anytime via email. And yeah, we're taking sort of people's early and interest registry here, and we're pretty soon going to release all the specifics on the dates, the pricing, hotel options for people. We'll have a couple of different packages depending on what level of luxury or comfort you want to stay in Tokyo, as prices vary quite a bit in this city. So we'll walk you through that as well. But the description of the workshop is already up there in quite a bit of detail, so you have an idea of what you're looking at. And there are other workshops there as well where you can see, some examples of what people have done. Also, the hashtag Nobechi Creative on Instagram, you can see students' work from prior workshops, so you can get an idea of that as well.
That's exciting. Well, George, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I hope to see a lot of you guys there, as many as possible. Just signing up. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, regardless of how many people are there, and I'm very much looking forward to it personally. So, thanks again, George.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. And I've lined up a list of some of my favorite restaurants as well in Tokyo. I'm a big foodie as well, so we're going to be eating well as well as part of the workshop.
Oh
So
yeah, that's
be
a must.
excited.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, thanks, Ibarionex.